Happy morning, dear students of grade 9. Welcome back to the biology class. Children, we started and we discussed about plant tissues, various plant tissues in our previous class. And we know that plant tissues are classified as simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue on the basis of the kind of cells they have, the nature of meristem they possess. Now we are here to discuss about complex tissues. Simple tissue in our previous session we have learned, such as parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And simple tissues, how they are different than the complex tissues also we discussed about that. A tissue is a group of cells and the study of tissue is histology. If the tissue is composed of similar, same, identical cells, then we call it as simple tissue. If the tissue is composed of different kind of cells, more than two or many, two or more than two or many different group of cells, we call it as complex tissue. And complex tissue here, they can be otherwise called as vascular tissue also. Complex tissue, other name is vascular tissue. Complex tissue can be called as vascular tissue also. So here there are two examples of complex tissue we have. One is xylem, the other is phloem. Now xylem is a commonly called as it's a complex tissue or vascular tissue responsible for conduction of water. And phloem is a food conducting tissue in plants, responsible for conduction of food. So it is a water conducting tissue and it is a food conducting tissue. Now let us talk about xylem. Both are complex tissue examples, xylem and phloem. In plants, complex tissues are classified in two divisions, whereas simple tissues are three. Simple tissues in plants, example we learn 1, 2, 3. Parenchyma, sclerenchyma, collenchyma. And complex tissues in plant, one is xylem and other is phloem. So simple tissues are composed with identical cells, complex tissues are composed with different kind of cells. So for complex tissue we have taken these two examples, xylem and phloem. And simple tissue which we discussed yesterday's class, they are parenchyma, sclerenchyma, collenchyma. Now let us take xylem as a complex tissue, which is a water conducting tissue in plant. Xylem is a complex tissue responsible for conduction of water and mainly is composed with four components. What are the four elements of xylem? Xylem is responsible for conduction of water. It is composed of both living and non-living cells. Now see here, and xylem tissue is composed with four elements. What are the four elements of xylem? Number one, trachea. The second element of xylem, vessels. Third one, xylem, parenchyma. And the fourth one is xylem fiber. So what are these? These four types of cells present in a xylem tissue. These are the four: trachea, vessels, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fiber. These are the four elements or four components or four different kind of cells present in xylem tissue we can call. So among these, they are living in nature. Which one living in nature? Xylem parenchyma. The cells in the xylem parenchyma, these cells are living in nature. Whereas trachea are dead cells, vessels, their nature also is dead. Whereas xylem fiber also, they are also dead in nature. But among these four elements, four components, four different kinds of cells of xylem tissue, these two, trachea and vessels, plays a vital role in absorption, conduction of water. And they are widely xylem tissues, they are widely distributed in a plant body, such as leaves, root, stem, and together xylem and phloem, together we find the association of xylem and phloem in a group. They forms a vascular bundle. What they form? Vascular bundle. What is vascular bundle here? A association of xylem and phloem. a combination of xylem and phloem together in a plant body. When this tissue, both are complex tissue. It is a water conducting tissue, this is a food conducting tissue. When the both appears in a group, that association, suppose these are xylem tissues and here these are phloem tissues. They both appears in a group. This association we call as vascular bundle. In most of the leaves, stem, branches, both commonly appears together to form a vascular bundle. So what is xylem tissue? It's a water conducting tissue. It is widely distributed in all the parts of a plant, such as xylem tissues are found in leaves, root, stem, branches. They are composed with 4 components. What are the components of xylem tissue? Trachea, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fiber. And xylem tissue is made of both. It contains living as well as non-living cells. What are the living cells among these? Trachea, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers. These are 4. But among these 4, they are living. Xylem parenchyma are living. Whereas these 3, xylem fiber, vessels and trachea are dead in nature. So these trachea and vessels, they are long cylindrical tube-like structures, and xylem fibers will be like threads, long threads, and xylem parenchyma will be spherical or biconcave like this. This xylem, they are living in nature, whereas these trachea, vessels, and xylem fibers are dead in nature. But the xylem fiber, they plays a major role during the process of ascent of sap. What is ascent of sap? You know, gravity is present. Roots are negatively geotropic because they grow towards the direction of gravity. So what happens against the gravity? Suppose a plant body is there. That after when the root absorbs the water further it has to be sent to the aerial part of a plant body against the gravity. That work is done by xylem fibers. So to pull the water against the gravity and send it further to the aerial part of a plant body, that process is called ascent of sap. And during that ascent of sap process, they take active role. Of course, they are dead cells. They are dead. Xylem parenchyma are living in nature. So this is about xylem. Similarly, the second complex tissue we have phloem, which is a food conducting tissue. As xylem has 4 elements, 4 different kinds of cell. Similarly, phloem too made with 4 different type of components. So what are the 4 elements, 4 different types of cells present in phloem tissue? Sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fiber. As xylem is composed with both living and dead cells, similarly phloem to have combination of living and dead cell. But they are water conducting tissue, they are food conducting tissue. You know, the food during photosynthetic activity, the food is manufactured in a plant part, especially in the leaves. The food which is manufactured in the leaves during photosynthesis process, that is further taken away from the site of manufacture to the various part, and it is for the store for the future use. This work is done by, don't think that only conduction of food. Of course, conduction of food means from the site of manufacture to the other various parts of the plant body and storing it. That work is done by phloem tissue. So these sieve tubes will be like this when we observe them under microscope. Companion cells will be like this. A phloem parenchyma will be cylindrical, long, a tube-like cylindrical cells. When a section of thin leaf, transverse section of thin leaf is taken, and if you prepare a slide, and the same slide if you observe under microscope, we could able to see the xylem and phloem and what kind of elements they possess. So these two are the complex tissues example. One is xylem, which is a water conducting tissue. The other is phloem, that is food conducting a tissue in plant. Complex tissues, it can be otherwise called as vascular tissues in a plant body. So So this is enough for today, children. The further part of this. Next, after this complex tissue, we have to proceed further towards animal tissues, that is epithelial, connective, muscular and nerve tissues. Soon we will meet with, and during that class we will discuss further about animal tissues. Thank you. Take care.